Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brave New Hollywood. My guest today is writer-director Robert Gerety, the filmmaker of Working Man, which comes out on VOD on May 5th. Robert, thank you for joining me. Let's start talking about your film. How did this film come about, especially this being your first feature film?
Right. Well, it was kind of a long time, long process, really. 10 years ago, I wrote the first draft for Working Man, post-financial crisis of 2008, 2009. I didn't know really what to do with this script because it wasn't, to me, going to ever be a big studio movie.
Right.
I'd worked for the studios in the past, but I knew that this was a very small, intimate, personal story that I'd hope to make myself one day. And that being the case, I submitted it to Film Independent. They of course sponsor the Spirit Awards and also Talent Labs.
I remember, yes.
Film Independent took a shine to the script. They selected it for their screenwriting lab. So I went out and studied with the folks there at Film Independent, and my screenwriting mentor was Meg LaFoe, who many people would recognize as the Academy Award nominated screenwriter of Inside Out, the Pixar film. Meg was great. She really challenged me and pushed me as a screenwriter to write the best version of this screenplay that I could. And she also introduced me to a longtime producing partner now in this film, Clark Peterson. And it just evolved over 10 years. And we finally were fortunate enough to land financing in 2017. We shot in Chicago for 20 days, 2018, 2019. We were on the film festival circuit. Now here we are, May 5th, launching the movie on demand. We planned a theatrical release like a lot of other films, but now in the age of COVID-19, we have other options. Yeah. So this is, it's been a long path, but I think it's a movie that's finding its place in time. It's about deals, of course, with unemployment and also mental health to a degree. Mm-hmm. Which are issues I think on the, on the tips of the tongues of everybody, and not just in our country but worldwide. I think a lot of folks can relate and identify with this.
Wanted to also talk about your amazing cast, Peter Gerety, Talia Shire. How did you find them? How did they join the project?
So as a first-time filmmaker, I was pretty fortunate to have this amazing cast of three pretty powerful leads. Yes. Peter Gerety and Billy Brown honestly came onto the film relatively late, and we were very lucky to get them. I think they did a beautiful job, great performances. Talia Shire was kind of our anchor. She had worked with my producing partner, Clark Peterson, on a film or two in the past. They had a really good working relationship. Clark had sent the script to Talia on a Friday, and then the following Monday, she said yes. So it was a pretty quick turnaround, and I think we just happened to catch her at the right time. She doesn't act a ton anymore. She doesn't really need to. She's very selective, and I think the story just really spoke to her and to Peter and Billy. And I think once they came onto set, it was pretty magical because you don't have a lot of time for rehearsal with an independent film. You just have to go, right? 20 days we had to shoot.
And when you have a cast like that, where the chemistry is right and you see it's working, how much directing do you do?
That's a great question. You I think, try to stay out of their way, right? Again, when you're in a situation too where you just have 20 days to shoot, very little time to rehearse, very little time to prepare, you just are kind of banking on the fact that those actors come in extremely prepared. And they did. They understood those characters. We of course had conversations and we'd talk in between takes and so forth. But you are kind of at the mercy of their skills. Yes. Right? When If you hope to get this entire thing shot within the time frame, we had no pickup days. We didn't have the budget to go back or reshoot anything. So what we got is what we had to live with. That's where you clearly benefit from having some enormously skilled actors, and that also applied to our cast out of Chicago. Everybody, all those actors aside from our three leads were cast out of the Chicago area. Extremely great. I mean, terrific cast.
Is it safe to say that one of the co-stars of the film is kind of the factory? The factory comes to life in this film.
Right, our Chicago crew and location team identified that factory for us. It's in a case of, and I agree, it is a true character in the movie, and it's something that you couldn't fabricate on a sound stage or a warehouse. That's an operational, I should say, was an operational factory. I learned recently that after 71 years in business, that plant closed down in December after we had shot there. It's an enormous, it's like life imitating art in a strange way, because I talked to the plant manager just this past week and asked him how he was getting along. It's down to a skeleton crew there of like 5 people, just kind of cleaning up and taking care of the last bits of the closure. Very similar to our film. I mean, as he told me, he says, life's stranger than fiction, Bob. Yeah. But it was a factory that was built in 1949. It was operational. We shot around their schedule. It was working while we were working, and it's really sad that this is the fate of that factory is exactly the same fate that was exercised in our movie.
Yes. This being your first feature film, what did you learn making this film?
Oh, so much. I learned every day was a learning experience, because I've done a lot of commercial work, directing work, and so forth in the past, but nothing really fully prepares you for your first movie. It's I don't know that I could articulate one particular thing. It's all of it. You know, the pre-production, production, post. I was also a producer on the film too, so I'm still actively involved on that end. If you're lucky like I've been, I've had amazing producing partners. I mentioned Clark Peterson, Level Holder, MyML, just people, and we had a great composer, David Gonzalez, a great DP, Piero Basso. These people, you really lean heavily on the experience of those around you that have been there and done that, and you have to really trust that expertise, I think, as the first-time filmmaker. And if you are fortunate enough to have that type of team around you, hopefully you produce something that is worthy. And we're really proud. I'm really proud of this movie. It's as a freshman effort, I don't know that I could have asked for a better experience.
What would you like the audiences to take away from your film?
I think what audiences are going to take away from the film now, as opposed to when I first wrote it, there's an altogether different aspect of relatability, because of what's happening at the time of this movie's release. The fact that so many people are facing unemployment, if they aren't having to deal with it themselves, and the mental aspects around losing your job, they certainly know someone who is. So I think that's the timeliness is going to hopefully connect with people. I think while it's I think it's important also to understand that as heavy as so much of the story is emotionally, I think it's ultimately an uplifting film. I think it's hopeful, and we need that right now. We need stories that are are truthful about situations, and whether it's job or mental health, what have you, but also that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? We need to have stories like that now. We need to see that there is that brighter day waiting for us all at the end of all this, and hopefully this film achieves that and connects with people on that level.